Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos. So just going to give you my post-match reaction for the Bournemouth Manchester United game. Bournemouth beat Manchester United by 1-0 at the Vitality Stadium. So now this is our fourth defeat in the league this season. The second time in the league that Bournemouth have beaten Manchester United, because Bournemouth did beat us back in 2015. Obviously, that was the first season in the Premier League. But my match analysis, I thought it was absolutely an absolute abysmal performance for Manchester United. The performance was totally comparison, to the game against Chelsea midweek, and the game against Norwich last week. And as we just thought as well, that Manchester United were on the comeback. Because obviously, reflecting on our last four games before today, we did do really well. It's going to be interesting to see as well how Roy Keane, Gary Neville, Ryan Giggs, and all the former Manchester United players do react to this, because Gary Neville actually did say prior to the game it only takes another game for Manchester United to lose or draw or whatever, then Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be back under intense pressure. And reflecting on this game, I think now he will be back under intense pressure. Bournemouth's goal was from Joshua King, who was actually a former Manchester United player. He had scored the goal just on the stroke of half time. Adam Smith had got the assist, and that was the only goal of the game. You can actually blame Wan-Bissaka, for the Joshua King's goal, because I think when that cross came in, he was around 2 or 3 yards off Joshua King. But it was a well taken goal. Fair play to him. Maybe there was shades of the game where Man United actually dominated the possession, but was actually was just struggling to get runs in behind. Bournemouth defensively did really well. And again we didn't create a lot of chances in the game, and this is what something Manchester United have been doing this season. We have been struggling here to create chances, obviously struggling to score goals, and I think now I've got to say that I don't think the coaching staff are good enough at Manchester United. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer isn't good enough at Manchester United, and I think we definitely need to assure changes at the football club. And we know that a massive rebuild is needed at Manchester United. Maybe I can take some slight positives today. I thought there was a good couple of individual performances. Rashford looked good in certain parts of the games. He was making decent runs in that. Daniel James, I thought did okay. Brandon Williams also did really well when he came on in the game, and he was only on the pitch for around 10 minutes. But I've got to say he was actually probably man of the match. Was Brandon Williams. Well, I'm actually surprised that Rashford, Harry Maguire, and Lindelof played in the game, because obviously Solskjaer had confirmed in his press conference that there were obviously injury doubts for the game, but obviously their injuries must have not been that severe. But Solskjaer has tried different elements now at the football club, and it still seems to be it still seems that it's not currently working. He did actually revert back to the 4-2-3-1 formation today, because we do know recently he has been going with three at the back a lot, and that formation has obviously seen to be working. But I just don't think Solskjaer is the right man for Manchester United. With a defeat as well, we drop to 8th in the table. Bournemouth do go 3 points clear of us, but I thought in the second half especially Bournemouth had better chances than Manchester United. But I thought we actually started the game on the front foot. To be quite honest with you, there was some controversy in the game. Arguably there was talk saying that Bournemouth should have had a penalty. Also Manchester United should have had a penalty. Actually, Lingard came on in the second half for Andres Pereira. I don't think Andres Pereira had too much of a good game today. But actually, Andres Pereira had been developing in the last couple of games before today. Jesse Lingard, he's obviously hasn't played regularly this season. Obviously, recently recovered from injury, and I think he's been very inconsistent this season. And I said, reflecting on his status at the football club, he should be putting much more better performances out. I still believe as well there is a lot of players at Man United that are no longer good enough to represent the football club. So I think we do need to orchestrate on getting rid of more players next year. And I think Manchester United, a massive rebuild is needed at the football club, as I think you all know. And I think we need at least 5 to 6 more signings if we are to be back to being a competitive elite level football club, because during the summer, we didn't address all the problematic areas. We're lacking in that midfield. Paul Pogba is also a big miss, but quite recently, before today, we seem to have played a better way without Paul Pogba. Solskjaer's confirmed that. Obviously, Paul Pogba is out until December. With an ongoing ankle injury. I do probably believe he's one of the players that will leave Manchester United next year. And we've still got other injuries. Obviously Eric Bailly's out until the end of the year. Obviously Matic, Luke Shaw are still out with injury. Diego Dalot's still out with injury. So we have still got quite a lot of injuries. But obviously, reflecting on the injuries that Man United have had anywhere, we've had to make alterations in the squad. Credit Bournemouth, I thought, they did deserve the victory today. And, Bournemouth haven't enjoyed, not a very bad start to the season. Obviously, before their victory today, they were winless in their last, 4 or 5 games, or was it 6 games, if I can remember. But, actually, Eddie Howe has done a really good job with Bournemouth. Obviously, he's the second longest serving English manager is Eddie Howe. Obviously, he spent the majority of his managerial career with Bournemouth. He's been there several years. He actually had a spell with Burnley before he was at Bournemouth. Obviously, throughout his playing career as well, he spent the majority of his playing career with Bournemouth. But actually, has done a really good job. But actually, prior to the game, Eddie Howe actually had praised Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He actually believes that Solskjaer is building a new Manchester United, and he also said that he's brought real stability to the football club. But yeah, we need to see a lot of changes. We also need to see structural changes. But I think due to our inconsistency anywhere, I think everyone is to blame. A lot of the blame stems from the board. Obviously with their poor recruitment and their poor selection of managers. I think. And the board obviously didn't back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer enough during the course of the summer, so the board are mainly to blame, and I think we need to get rid of this current board and recommend a new board in. Also, a lot of the blame does stem from Ed Woodward, because he's obviously been a liability for several years, but I think based on our bad performances and bad results for the majority of this season, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is definitely accountable for some of that, and I think a lot of the blame does stem from quite a lot of players, so everyone of course is to blame. And I have been criticising Ole Gunnar Solskjaer anywhere for the vast majority of this season with his tactics, because for the majority of this season we have been tactically inept. Prior to the game today, I thought in the last 4 games we showed a lot of tactical flexibility which was very, very good. The personnel obviously was there. But yeah, basically today, the performance, just wasn't good enough. Like I said, we're just not creating enough chances. We're not scoring enough goals. And actually in that aspect, it replicates last season, because last season, we didn't score enough goals. We wasn't ruthless enough in front of goal. And this seems to be a problem with Manchester United. So next year, we've got to get probably 2 midfielders in, because we are missing impetus. We are missing creative impetus in that midfield. I also believe next year we've got to get probably 2 attackers in. We need someone to come in that can assure us goals, someone who can be more effective in the box, and we need an adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez, because like I mentioned, since their departures, Man United have looked very, very exposed in that attacking line. But I did a video earlier on, didn't I? Obviously before the game against Bournemouth, and I did go through with you, I did go through with the changes that I've seen at Manchester United quite recently, because there has been actually a variety of changes prior to today, because obviously we saw a bit more goals. Obviously, there was there seemed to be more fluidity in the team. Certain players there stepped up to the plate. Rashford recently, has regained form. He's now scored 52 goals for the football club, and I don't think he was bad in certain parts today. There's still some aspects of Rashford's game that he does definitely need to improve on. With Anthony Martial, he recently recovered from injury not too long ago, and I think since he's recovered from injury, Martial has actually done well. Again, he was playing in that number 9 today. And Martial, he's very, very effective in that central position, but I just don't think we could feed him. We couldn't feed him enough today, because Bournemouth defensively played very, very well. But he's already scored 2 goals as Martial since he's come back from injury. But yeah, we need to see massive changes at the football club. But reflecting back before the Liverpool game, Solskjaer was under intense pressure at the football club, and like I did say prior to today, them last 4 games you could arguably say saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure at Man United. But obviously now with this defeat to Bournemouth, we are back to square one. So he's going to be back under more intense pressure. It's going to be interesting to see what he does say in his press conference, Solskjaer. But I've got to say, the best game I've seen this season from Man United was the game against Norwich last week. We did win by 3 goals to 1. That's our best performance this season, without a shadow of a doubt. I thought the performance against Liverpool at home was very, very good, and we was actually unlucky not to win that. I thought the game against Partizan Belgrade was very, very poor, but where we still got the win. But yeah, I said, I did say to you recently, didn't I? I wasn't getting more excited than that, because we are now back to square one. We are now getting back to square one and that. And, Solskjaer did say in his press conference prior to this game, that, it's going to be a very, very tough game. Bournemouth have got some good players. Obviously, we're a better team than Bournemouth. And this is obviously a game that, Manchester United should be winning. Because if we had won this game today, it would have been 4 away wins on the trot. Because like I said recently as well, we'd improved our away form. But, we are back to square one. We still remain obviously 7 points behind top 4. And I've got to disregard the top 4 now. I don't think Man United are going to get the top 4 anywhere. Because I did say at the start of the season that is our expectations this season. To finish in that top 4. So in that aspect, we can get back into the Champions League. And Solskjaer is obviously aware of the expectations he has to exceed at the football club if he's to remain in the job at Man United. But I just think the expectations are too high for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and like I've mentioned in my previous videos, my element of concern I've got about him that, he just isn't good enough to be a manager. He hasn't got any intuition on how to manage a big football club like Manchester United, despite the fact, that he knows the traditions of the football club. I will take into account that Solskjaer's got that proven pedigree as a player, because he was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance, but just hasn't, got that managerial experience. Solskjaer, you may still get certain Man United fans saying, we should still, give him more time at the football club, because he has been here overall now for around 11 months, so he has been here just under a year, and obviously he's been permanent Man United boss for around 8 months, and obviously for the majority of this 8-month period, he's mainly endured a difficult tenure, but it's totally comparison. In this 8-month period, it is actually no comparison to what I saw when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager in that 3-month period, because he actually did really, really well when he was the interim manager in that 3-month period, and that he exceeded expectations and that. And I got glimpses of the Alex Ferguson era in that 3-month period, but obviously my perceptions were different regarding Solskjaer in that 3-month period, because I did think then that he was the right man to elevate Manchester United forward. But obviously I've over the course of this 8 months or so, I've had different perceptions on it. But even when we was on that good run of form before today, my perceptions still never really changed under Solskjaer. I said probably we should keep him probably until the end of the season. Probably Man United anywhere. I presume we'll stick with him till the end of the season. But he's definitely not the long-term future for Manchester United. But he's just not good enough for the football club. And I think Man United have made several mistakes in the last 6 or 7 years. One of the mistakes was, we shouldn't have given Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job. We give him the job too soon. In a way, I do feel sorry for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. I do, some aspects of me, like I say, I do credit Solskjaer. He has got, a lot of trustworthy in his young players. Graduated, he's graduated them from the academy and that, which is obviously, very, very good. And the vast majority of the young upcoming players have been given their chances this season. And, I think, there will be a lot of young players that do become, well, some of them, if not a lot, will become a fruition at Manchester United. I've got some element of concerns about certain young upcoming players. So this is why I did take into account maybe in January, we should consider, loaning some out, because maybe they're not good enough to represent Man United, maybe they're not getting the opportunities, as they should. But yeah, Mason Greenwood obviously has not yet started a game from the start in the Premier League this season. I think he's one of the young upcoming players I can assure will become a success at the football club. Mason Greenwood now this season has made 7 substitute appearances in the Premier League. Obviously, I think Tuanzebe will become a success at the football club. Don't forget Tuanzebe is out over hip injury. Solskjaer did confirm anyway that Tuanzebe, Matic and Shaw should be back after the international break. I can also assure Brandon Williams will do really, really well. He's made 3 appearances for Man United this season. Obviously came on today and was obviously very, very impressive. And I think a lot of Man United fans now do believe that he's a better solution than Luke Shaw, despite the fact that Luke Shaw is our first choice left back. But there's a lot of young players in the squad, that are developing and trying to improve at Manchester United. But, we have enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 3 decades. So maybe some Manchester United fans fear that, if Solskjaer is to remain in the job this season, that he could actually end up getting us relegated. If he obviously, if he was to do that, he would replicate, what he did with Cardiff, because obviously, he ended up getting Cardiff relegated. He only managed around 29 or 30 games for Cardiff. But, I still don't think Man United will get relegated. The club's too big. There's too much money and that into the football club. But, Solskjaer is not the right man for Manchester United. So I think, the club probably need to recommend getting a new manager in. I think we should have arguably, got a director of footballing. That could play a part in it as well. Because, we was in for a director of football during the summer. And I did take into account that's one of the structural changes that Manchester United do need at the football club. And during the summer, there was quite a few former Man United players linked to that director's role. Obviously, there was a lot of speculation about Edwin van der Sar the other week about, him coming in. But I did say if we was to recommend a new director of footballing, it would be beneficial to recommend someone who knows the traditions of the club, someone who obviously would be reliable to oversee our transfer business, because obviously Ed Woodward is not reliable to oversee our transfer business. Solskjaer came out, it was quite some time ago now, but he actually defended the club's current structure, so he actually insists from his own perception that we don't need a new director of football and that. But, like I mentioned, I still believe there's definitely more players that need to leave Manchester United, despite the fact that a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. I think another mistake Manchester United did make was getting rid of Ander Herrera, because you could arguably say that Ander Herrera, was one of our best players since the Alex Ferguson era. I think he had 3.5, 4 good years out of the 5 years. When he was at Manchester United, and he did make a big impact in that midfield. But it infuriated me more that we let his contract run down and that we let him go on a free transfer. Some Man United fans will actually say that it was a mistake getting rid of Romelu Lukaku, because Lukaku obviously in the end had to go because he initially lost his place in the team. Lukaku obviously enjoyed 2 seasons with Manchester United. He enjoyed an exceptional first season, but obviously didn't really replicate that in his second season, because he lost his place in the team to Marcus Rashford. To Marcus Rashford, but Lukaku, his goal scoring pedigree in the Premier League was really, really good. I know a lot of Man United fans had element of concerns about him regarding his first touch, and obviously he was a big game bottler, but he still could, score him a lot of goals. We did overpay for Lukaku. We paid £75 million for him from Everton. We're obviously known for overpaying for players in recent years anyway, so that's also another piece of bad business from the football club. But actually, we recouped the money back. We recouped the money back basically from what we paid for him from Everton back in 2017. So we did generate a substantial amount for his departure. So that you could arguably say that maybe was a mistake for Man United. It was also a mistake for Man United, giving Phil Jones a new long-term contract last season. He's one of the problematic players at the football club, but he needs to be moved on at some point next year. And we should have got rid of Jones during the summer, but instead we actually got rid of Smalling instead of Phil Jones. And I did say, comparing them to, I think definitely Chris Smalling's a much better centre-half than Phil Jones, without a shadow of a doubt. Smalling's obviously on loan with Roma. Roma paid just under £3 million to get him out on loan. But yeah, Phil Jones is not good enough for the football club. He's now into his ninth season as a Manchester United player. He has been here 8 years, so he has been a long-serving player in the football club. But he's definitely one of the problematic players. I think also another mistake from Man United, was giving Young a new one-year extension last season, because he's obviously now past his sell-by date. Obviously, Young's actually been playing on a regular basis this season, mainly to do with the injuries that Man United have had, especially at them full-back positions, because we have got quite a few full-backs in the team. But obviously, Young's not good enough. He's another long-serving player. He's now into his 9th season as a Man United player, and he also, has been here 8 years. I was happy, with some of the contract renewals. Some players deserve new contracts. Some players shouldn't have got new contracts. So I was probably happy that Rashford, he signed a new long-term contract. I was happy with that. Happy with Martial signing a new contract. Don't know about Jesse Lingard, to be quite well. Jesse Lingard obviously hasn't. I don't think he's got a new contract yet, but he's on over £100,000 a week. I was happy with obviously De Gea signing a new contract. He made some world class saves today. I do want to mention. But yeah, so there's got to be a lot of changes at the football club without a shadow of a doubt. But But like I mentioned anyway, we have been a toxic football club, for the last 6 or 7 years. We've obviously brought players in, that haven't fitted the culture or the history of the football club, and it's always very essential to bring players in who you think are going to fit the culture of the football club and the history and that of the football club. And I credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer because he did recommend 3 good signs to the squad during this summer. We spent nearly £150 million on Dan James and Wan-Bissaka and on Harry Maguire, and they've all enjoyed fantastic starts to their Manchester United careers. So I do praise him for that. But we just didn't do enough investment during this summer. But Solskjaer can still say he's still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team, because analysing the majority of this squad, it isn't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. The vast majority of this squad is Jose Mourinho's, because Jose Mourinho recommended 11 players into the football club. Now Solskjaer is still inheriting the vast majority of them. You're still getting quite a few Manchester United fans saying that we should get Jose Mourinho back in. Could that now be a mistake? Now, was it a mistake for Man United, getting rid of Jose Mourinho? I wouldn't really say that. I think the one mistake we did do was not recommending him in an earlier time. I actually, you could arguably say we recommended Jose Mourinho when too late, because Jose Mourinho overall is regarded as one of the best managers in the world. Reflecting on the success he's had, obviously he's won stuff everywhere he's been. He won the Europa League and the League Cup with Manchester United in his first season, but he just wasn't good enough. Jose Mourinho, he had a 2.5-year tenure at the football club. He was the longest serving manager we had since the Alex Ferguson era. But I've already I've given you the variety of reasons why it didn't work out under Jose Mourinho, because obviously they had bad disputes with the board, he had bad disputes with the top players, and reflecting back last summer, the board weren't backing the signings that I wanted to recommend into the football club. But Mourinho spent a substantial amount at Man United. He spent just under around, was it 400 million or just under 400 million pounds on players. So this is why it didn't work out under him. But, I said, Man United haven't got the structure to keep sacking managers, because we've already sacked 3 managers since the Alex Ferguson era. Moyes, like I said, left after 10 months. He had a really short tenure. Van Gaal left just after a year and a half, was it? Despite the fact he won the FA Cup. And I've also been frustrated with the lack of silverware in the last 6 or 7 years. I've also been very, very frustrated about that. But, I did expect at the start of this season, and I did really expect it. I didn't expect Man United this season, to win the league or mount any kind of title challenge up, because, analysing our squad, it isn't good enough at this present time. It isn't good enough at this present time. And, we won't win the league for at least the next 3 to 4 years. I can definitely assure you that, because City are on a strides ahead of us at the moment. Liverpool are strides ahead of us. So we won't win it, we won't win it for in the next 3 to 4 years. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013. Obviously, that was the last time we won it. It was in Alex Ferguson's last season, but it's nearly 7 years now, since we won the Premier League. But I said it's very imperative that we get top 4 this season, because if we could, if we could get top 4 this season, it would create a platform and it would give Manchester United something to build on. But obviously, we know now it's not going to happen. I think Man United this season probably may end up finishing, at 9th, maybe 10th. But we definitely know we'll get the top 4 this season. I do believe we've blown it. But even when we beat Norwich, I said I didn't fully disregard the top 4, but I still said it's going to be extremely difficult for us, to get in that top 4. But our aspirations anyway in the next couple of seasons, will be that top 4. It will be that top 4. But there has obviously been a list of managers on our agenda, who could replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at the football club anyway. Don't forget there was a lot of speculation the other week about Max Allegri. Max Allegri. He did reportedly say, we identified him as our primary candidate to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at the football club. So if Solskjaer is to be sacked by Man United, then it's very, very probable, according to what reports said the other week, that Max Allegri will be our next permanent manager. Obviously, if he was to come in, he would be our 5th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. I haven't read much reports about Max Allegri recently, but what I read the other week, he says he was in discussions with the football club regarding his salary, basically, of how much he, would earn if he was to take the mantle on at Manchester United. He also wanted to recommend Patrice Evering as one of his coaching staff, and he also wanted to, bring the likes of Mario Mandzukic and, Emre Can to the football club, and that this is what, he did assure Max Allegri. He also said, that he, was learning English in preparation for his potential move. And I think it recently said, that Arsenal weren't interesting, but maybe a lot of Man United fans believe, he would be the right candidate for the football club, Max Allegri. But he's never actually managed in the Premier League. He's never managed in the Premier League. He's actually spent the entirety of his managerial career in Italy. Obviously, his recent team he managed was Juventus. He actually stepped down as Juventus manager at the end of last season, and now obviously he hasn't been managers for that long. Obviously, the vast majority of his survey was with Juventus, because obviously he had a 5-year tenure with Juventus. Max Allegri. But yes, he has been on our current agenda. But obviously, before we recommended Solskjaer to the football club, obviously, there was there was a couple of managers on our agenda at the time. Pochettino was our top priority. Obviously, we inquired about getting Zinedine Zidane, but our preference was just Solskjaer over Pochettino and Zinedine Zidane. I think probably one of the main reasons is probably because Solskjaer knows the traditions of the club. He also was a cheaper solution. But that actually, there has been a variety of managers on our agenda who could replace him, but it's likely, it will be Max Allegri. There again, Max Allegri did say he would come to Manchester United if he was assured to be given the job within the next few weeks, and that got mentioned around 4 or 5 weeks ago now. 5 weeks ago now. But I just can't believe, going back to what I said, that we've lost today, because I actually, was going in this game, very, very confident. I wasn't too confident, but I had quite a lot of confidence in me, reflecting on how we've done recently. And I thought, the momentum seems to be building, the confidence was back in the team and that. But yeah, again, very, very flat today in some parts of that game. Looked very, very exposed. But credit Brandon Williams a lot. He's only 19 years of age. He'll definitely earn more first team promotions like he has been doing obviously recently. James Garner, not too sure about him. He was good on his full debut, James Garner, in the 1-0 win against Partizan Belgrade. But yeah, Solskjaer's tried different elements, obviously, when we saw the change of formation with him going to three at the back, then I thought, hold on a minute, this formation seems to be working and all that, it did. And, he reverted back to the 4-2-3-1 today. I think he did start with a 4-2-3-1, if I'm actually right. I'm almost sure that he did. But yeah, very, very disappointing result. And there's nothing much really more to say, guys, to be quite honest with you. The good thing is, we are making plans, for next year of who else, we can recommend into the football club. I think we'll probably orchestrate on spending another substantial amount of money. We'll probably orchestrate on spending upwards of £250 million next year. I think we're looking to get a couple of players in January, Then I think, we'll probably do the vast majority of our transfer business next summer. The question is, Solskjaer may not now be here by May. So a lot of things may have changed now, reflecting on this 1-0 defeat against Bournemouth. But, it's very essential next year. We've got to bring the right calibre players in, to Manchester United if we want to get back to being a competitively level football club. And like I mentioned, reflecting on the status and, reflecting on the potential, the status, and the money that's been invested into this football club, we should be much more of a commanding position, than winning now. So it is, actually, an embarrassment, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. It's absolutely humiliating, I should take into account. And, we've lost to teams this season that we shouldn't have lost to. We lost to Crystal Palace at home 2-1. That was the first time we ever lost to them in Premier League history. That game we should have arguably won because we actually created a lot of chances in that game, but we didn't win. We lost at Newcastle before the international break again, another abysmal performance. Lost away at West Ham 2-0. That was another bad performance. Lost today against Bournemouth, another abysmal performance from Manchester United. But we do definitely need to see a lot of changes at the football club. But yeah, the recruitment's got to improve. Definitely the recruitment's got to improve in the next 3 to 4 windows because analysing our recruitment, it's been very, very poor for several years. But there's a lot of players in our agenda, who we could go in for next year. But due to our inconsistency anywhere, it's going to be hard for us to attract players to the elite level. So if we have got any chances at all of getting the players that we want next year, I think the only way is overpay for them, because we're known for overpaying for players anywhere. I agree, Man United overpaid for Fred, we paid just under £50 million for him. Solskjaer recently spoke about Fred though, and he actually said that, Fred will take Paul Popper's position for a while, obviously. But I said, I don't know if Fred is a long-term solution for Manchester United. Probably give him more time at the football club because he has only been here since last summer. But I've still got element of concerns about him. He isn't a world-class midfielder, we know that. I've got the same perception of McTominay. To be fair to McTominay, for the vast majority of this season, he has done really, really well as Scott McTominay. But I've got the same thoughts about him and then what I've got about Fred. I agree we overpaid for Maguire. We paid, 70 million with 10 million in add-ons, which did potentially rise it to around 80 million pounds. We overpaid for Harry Maguire. We did overpay for Maguire, but I think he's delivered the goods to Manchester United, to be fair. We defensively look slightly better, we don't look as much better as I thought, we would have done defensively. But like I did take into the equation, even before we signed Harry Maguire, I said, we haven't had a world-class centre-back, since we had the likes of Vidic and Ferdinand, because, they were a great centre-back partnership. Maguire and Lindelof had a great centre-back partnership, but, we still seem to be conceding goals. We're not conceding loads of goals and that, which is obviously, a positive. But, I am beginning, to get really, really worried now. Without a shadow of a doubt, I'm beginning to get really, really worried. I am beginning to get really, really worried. But, Solskjaer, definitely can't invoke Alex Ferguson's legacy, to save him at Manchester United. That's something, I can definitely, assure. That's definitely something I can assure. That won't happen. We'll never be the team that we was under Alex Ferguson. I don't think we'll ever achieve, in terms of what we achieved under Ferguson. This team now we've got is totally comparison to the team that we had under Alex Ferguson, because the team was fantastic under Ferguson. Because Ferguson, developed a lot of young players. He also, bossed the transfer markets, but he developed a lot of young players. He controlled the transfer policies. He controlled the contracts. He didn't settle in straight away. That's something you can take into account, when you talk about, Solskjaer getting more time, because Ferguson, took him 4 years. It took him 4 years, to win out at Manchester United. But look what he went and did then. Look what he went and accomplished. We had 20 odd years of success under Ferguson. And he obviously, with the vast majority of our silverware came under Ferguson. We won around 38 trophies under Alex Ferguson. We'll take that into account. But we'll just never be the team that we was under the Alex Ferguson era. This is a complete different era now, with different groups and different players that Man United are building. There is actually still a couple of players here from the Ferguson era. I think there's obviously De Gea still here from the Ferguson era. There's Jonesy and Ashley Young. I think they're the only players now that are here from the Alex Ferguson era, if I'm right. But, I think after the international break, more players, should be back from injury. Shaw should be back. Tuanzebe should be back. He's an imperative player. Matic, he's been out with a minor problem recently, but I said, didn't I, he's one of the problematic players that needs to go next year. Does Nemanja Matic too slow, makes that midfielder look totally imbalanced. Fosu Mensah's still injured. I think he's back in training now, so he ain't far away, from coming back. But Solskjaer did confirm that Fred and Pereira, are two imperative players for Man United. But yeah, a massive rebuild is needed at this football club. But like I said, credit to Bournemouth. They were the better team. They had the better chances than Man United. We might have dominated the possession, but possession doesn't count if you don't, do anything with it. We're not. We just today struggled to get runs in behind. We didn't show any inspiration hardly in that attack further down the pitch. It was just flat for the majority of that game. And these are nothing much really more to say. But it's going to be interesting to see what the likes of Neville and Keane and Giggs say, and that, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video. But look at the money that's been spent at this football club. Around £700-800 million has been spent in all the managerial eras since the Ferguson era. A lot of money has been spent at Manchester United, but it just proves always spending big on players and getting them Glasgow players doesn't always, guarantee you success, and that's something I also want to take into account. But yeah, I think next year we'll sign Mario Mandzukic next year. Well, according to reports, we should do anywhere. He's going to be probably our fourth signing under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, and our first signing in January. Well, that's if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still the football club by January, that is. But yeah, massive rebuild is needed at Manchester United, and we are in transition as well. Solskjaer obviously admitted that the club's transition is being very, very difficult. I think we could be in transition for quite some time, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Yeah. So anyway, guys, give me your feedback in your comments below. What did you think to today's game? What do you think needs to change at Manchester United? I'd love to know. So take care, God bless, guys, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.